you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
And you're here for the editor position, correct?
I am.
Okay. So tell me about yourself.
My name is Hannah McCall. I am a senior double major at North Greenville University, where I will be graduating with degrees in criminal justice and in English. In the fall, I'll be pursuing a master's degree in English. I have job experience working in office positions, in customer service, and also in editing.
Okay. So why are you interested in working for a Pendium publishing house?
I am really interested in Pendium Publishing House because it's an independent publishing group that helps authors get started on their own, and I appreciate that mindset. I know a lot of companies can seem really big and intimidating and not work as personally with authors, but Pendium helps authors become better writers and to publish themselves without having to go to the bigger companies.
So tell me about like the extracurricular activities you had in college.
In college, I had a lot of extracurricular activities. I was a member of the English Honor Society, the Sigma Tau Delta. I was secretary for the History Club and helped manage activities with that group, going to Renaissance festivals or other outings. I served as the vice president for the Criminal Justice and Legal Studies Club and helped with outings and events and stuff with that group as well.
Okay. So, Miss McCall, what would you say are your strengths?
I think I have a lot of strengths, especially when it comes to writing, because I have a great love of literature. I have been obsessed with reading, and specifically reading fantasy novels and fiction pieces like your company is looking for an editor in. When I was a child, I was reading all the time, and I've kept that up through college, even though my schedule hasn't allowed for as much reading as I would like. I'm also a very organized person. Because of my two majors, I've taken many hours over the course of my college experience. Last semester alone, I was taking 26 hours, and I had to carefully regiment out my schedule and color code everything to make sure that I was on top of my work, so organization has become one of my strengths.
Okay, and what do you think your weaknesses are?
I think my biggest weakness is procrastination, because I have a big habit of pushing things off until the last minute. Despite that, I always get my work turned in on time, and it is something that I'm working to improve to help motivate myself better so that I'm able to carry out my tasks to the best of my ability on time and even before time so that everything is done.
And so we are looking for people who pay very close attention to detail and submit perfect things. So do you think that because of your struggle with procrastination, the quality of the pieces you send back might be less than what we are looking for?
I don't think so at all. In my schedule, in my course as a college student, in the schoolwork that I've been doing, I have procrastinated, as I mentioned before, but all of the work I submitted and procrastinated was turned in with, and I received A grades on it. I kept up the quality of my work despite the rushed time frame that I gave myself. None of the work that I submitted to professors, no matter how down to the wire it was for me, was reflecting poorly on my own abilities to the professor.
Okay, and so do you have a geographic preference that you prefer to live in?
Not particularly. I have moved around a lot all my life. I grew up overseas in India, and since coming back to the States, I've lived in a couple different homes. So with that past, I'm able to move around and work efficiently in many different areas, so I wouldn't mind moving.
Okay, so what can you personally bring to our Pendium company that we might not have right now?
I think that I can bring a great amount of attention to detail and pushing forward and getting a lot of work done in a short time frame. I work really well in high stress situations with a shortened time frame, and I'm able to get out really detailed work at the last minute. As I've mentioned, it's become a skill of mine. Because of the procrastination, I've been able to focus more and develop those skills.
Okay. So you are interviewing for this job, but you are also about to go into graduate school. So what do your long-term 5-year goals look like?
Long-term, I would really like to be able to publish one day myself and to get my own works out, which is why I'm pursuing a degree in English. And I think that taking this position and editing with your company would be a really great benefit to me, because it would help me develop my writing skills even more than they already are developed in editing other people's work, and it would set me up really well in the industry, getting to know people and networking therein.
Okay. So are you currently interviewing with any other companies?
Currently, I am not.
And why is that?
I think that I'm qualified for this position here at Pendium, but if you choose to go with another candidate, I do have a position with the GSA program at Liberty, which I am able to earn an income from.
Okay, and so you wouldn't want to do that instead of this? Because it seems like that one, other than experience, might be more financially beneficial.
I would actually really like to pursue both both job positions, because I think that the one GSA position with Liberty would allow me to expand my horizons in teacher work and editing as well, and it would help me support myself. But this position with Pendium being a remote project, I would be able to earn an extra income to help me pay off some of my loans, and I would also be able to expand that editing prowess, like I mentioned.
Okay. So tell me about a difficult problem that you've had and how you solved it.
So working at Food Lion, I've faced a lot of difficult customers and difficult situations with them. I've had to deal with customers complaining about their WIC accounts and their food stamps not being the correct balance, complaining about different coupons being the wrong price, and even public nudity. And in those situations, I try my best to calm down the customer or the streaker, I guess, to the best of my ability. But when my abilities are not enough, I know that it's okay for me to go to managers and approach them about the problem.
Okay. So imagine you received a piece and you edited it, and we received it, and our higher up people who looked at it said it was absolutely horrible. How would you react to that?
Do you mean horrible as in the content is horrible, or the editing style?
Your editing. How would you handle that criticism?
I would make sure to go back and check my work and see if I do believe that the piece is edited to the best of my ability. And if it's not, then I would ask them to show me examples of where my work was flawed and work with them to see if I need to change my style of editing or if there was some kind of miscommunication.
Okay. So what do you think is one word that truly describes you as a whole?
I think that a word to describe me would be ambitious. Despite all of the many different personality and character traits I've had since childhood, ambition has been one thing that's really stuck with me. It's something that keeps me motivated to push forward and take on a lot of responsibilities that allow me to experience life to its fullest. It's what helped me choose to take 2 majors when I could have focused on one. It's what's helped me focus on taking on many different job positions and working well in them to make myself a better person.
So, what do you think is the biggest mistake you've ever made? And then what did you learn from it?
I think the biggest mistake I ever made was wasting my time in high school. In high school, I was very unmotivated. As a homeschooler living overseas, I was kind of cut off from a lot of friendships and even family members in the position I was in. And so trying to keep on top of schoolwork and stay motivated in that was really challenging for me. And so I ended up developing more of my procrastination that I fought off in college. And that ended up being a really big waste of time for me in high school because I didn't feel like I learned very much. So from that experience, I was able to take that and in college focus on growing myself more and developing that self-motivation, which I think will prepare me well for being an independent worker with Pendium.
Okay. So even though you are working in a remote location, you won't have to deal with as many people as you would as if you were coming into an office. How would you deal with difficult people to work with or difficult authors who you think they're having trouble, and if you try to suggest something, they immediately get defensive and defend their way?
I think I would definitely make sure to allow for cooling off periods where I have the time to do so, and really make sure I'm understanding what the client's complaints are and see how I best can change the way I'm working to fit what they need the most out of me, because I realize that this company, Pendium, is a service for authors, and it's not a specific company that is going to force authors to conform one way or the other, and I wouldn't want to interfere with the author's stylistic choices at all. So if there were problems that were not grammar problems or problems that necessarily needed to be removed or edited out, I think I would allow the piece to be passed on to higher level editors above me so that they could look it over and see if the change needed to happen and then confirm with the client.
Okay. So you said you majored in English and criminal justice in college. So how did you get to editing as something you wanted to do with that criminal justice major?
So criminal justice has always been an interest of mine. I grew up watching crime shows, as I'm sure many other people have done, and there is a great deal of interest with that. And I was very interested specifically in the legal side of it and paying very close attention to details of how the law would be influenced and would work on different cases and in many different ways. And so I think developing that attention to detail and paying very close attention to word choices and how different situations demanded different results would be beneficial in that.
But how did you decide on editing as a career?
So from that, I have always enjoyed editing other people's documents, and I've worked in the writing lab this past year, and that has allowed me to review other students' work and help them check for grammar and their correct citations for MLA or APA or whatever issues they were bringing to me with content and perhaps structuring issues they were having. And I really enjoyed working with them and helping them make their paper the best that it could be. And so from taking that hobby that I really enjoyed doing and looking at my majors with English and criminal justice where I was focusing on the details, editing just seemed like a very obvious career choice for me because I do enjoy it so much.
Okay. So you said you took 26 and a half hours one semester. So I would assume that was very stressful, and you already said you can handle the stress and the time frame. But how did you being that busy impact the people around you?
I think being that busy with specifically my roommates and my friends, it may have been a little stressful for them because I was taking up a lot of my time to work on other schoolwork or perhaps jobs that I was doing because I was very busy that semester. But I think I took the time to watch movies with them or have Netflix nights, or we would go up to Bald Rock, which is a feature outdoors in our area where you can look at the nice sky, and we would take nights and just relax up there, or shopping trips, going thrifting, that sort of thing.
Okay. Well, do you have any questions for me?
Do you have any concerns about me for this position from our interview?
No.
What would you say makes a person most successful in this position?
I think just in any position, determination and a strong work ethic will make anybody successful wherever they are. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.